Hello everyone, I am AirySeez, and in today's video we'll be doing a Creative Sim 101 in The Sims 3, focusing on how to find your Creative Sim style using sliders. Also, quick update, I just want to share with you all that I have been sick in the early weeks of December, and this video was requested not too long ago from one of my Discord members, and I wanted to make sure that I make this video just in case, because a lot of people outside of the people who request a video like this have enjoyed the way that I make my Sims and all of that. So I definitely wanted to give you guys something before the new year is here. And yeah, so this video is really going to be turning because I want this to be as authentic as possible with how I make my Sims, so that you all can have an idea of how to build your own style. Before we get started, I just want you guys to know that I'll be using the CAS world to load up Creative Sim. This is the best way to make a Sim from scratch, or work with Sims in general, or just if you download multiple Sims and you haven't made them a household yet, this is a great way to go and create a sim, load them up, and then put them into your library to start placing into the town. Another thing I want to mention before we go into create a sim is that you want to go to the three dots and click edit town instead of create a household, because I'm sure that it will work, but just in case, so that you have the best outcome possible, to just go ahead and go into edit town and then choose create a household. All right, y'all, so we are now loading into Creative Sim and we need to specify some settings. So to do that, just click on the three dots at the bottom left with your right click and it will bring up the pop-up. So to start, I'm going to go ahead and make sure everything is shown in compact form at the bottom here. We have numeric slider enabled. I do like to change the range for the body sliders. This allows you to make things super big or super small. So when you're doing body, you can choose that. For this number, I'm choosing 6. And then for the facials, I'm going to choose 3. So this makes the range, the normal range for how to make certain things on the face or body bigger or smaller. This expands that range. Then we're going to go into max sliders. I normally like to bring it up to at least 6 to 10,000. And then we're going to hide a lot of these packs because you don't really need them. I may have to do this after I remove what's on her body. And let me make sure I save my settings in here. Multiple accessories and makeup. Override custom core sliders. True. All right. So the Sims that we're going to be actually setting up for making a style is going to be Misty. All right. This ain't the video for that. Stop looking for the mother skins. All right. Let me check see if this one is. No, it's not that one. I'm going to use Ephemera Fresh. I hope I'm saying that right. But we're going to use this skin for our Sim. We're making a POC for this, by the way. So yeah. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. All right, cool. Now that we are about to make the Sim, we are literally using a base Sim. Before I do that, I need to give her some brows. I do have custom brows. As long as you have your own custom content, because I don't want this to be a custom content heavy video. Even though we are using custom sliders, I'm going to be showing y'all how to use those custom sliders. And I kind of want to darken the brows because I don't know why her brows are like that. I've had these brows right here for years, so I don't know where they are. But if you do happen to find them, they are likely on a CC Finds page, one of the older CC Finds. I do love SLS brows. These are these are kind of like the fleek brows that I have, but these are like the more recent detailed type of brows. Got that pomade. But anyway, now that we have the brows that we're likely going to use, because you do want to have that situated, especially if they're going to stay. You want to use the brows that you tend to keep on the Sim. So these are the brows that we're going to keep on her. So we definitely want to shape her face and everything to the shape of the brows. Let's go to the head shape. We're going to start with head shape. Okay. So head shape is gonna like stretch the top of the head or bring it down. That is what this slider is right here. But when I'm doing head shape, I'm just slightly stretching depending on the type of sim that I'm making. And it's either going to, you kind of want to be careful with this one, obviously, but it's a good thing. You want to put it towards the right. This head shape goes towards the right. I'm not sure if this is an actual EA slider or custom. I'll have to check because my sliders are somewhere. After you do like the head shape, you can change the width, and that's gonna like bring it out some or in. All this is gonna help with creating your style, okay? Because you're starting with the shape of the head, how the head is gonna look. And then you can always come back to the head shape once you do everything else, but this is just kind of setting the foundation for how the sim is going to look. When you're doing like jawline and jaw height, you definitely want to look to the side to see how it looks on the side here and how it looks in the front. So if you don't like how it looks in the front, check the side as well to see how it looks in the side. And then I kind of want to bring that out a tad right there. Then you also want to look at the jawline rotation, how it looks on the outside versus in. Then if we bring it in, this is how it looks going in and how it looks in the front. And you definitely want to kind of, sliders is where you kind of play with it to see like how it stretches, how it changes the face. Let's see, what else do we have here? Because I don't touch every slider in the head section, at least the global part. Face height, sometimes, depending on the type of sim you're making. Face profile is the stretching out in this direction. So it's going to show up here versus here. You'll see it here as you move, but you're definitely going to see it here because you can have a face that's sunken or a face that's stretched. And even in Second Life kind of has sliders like this. If anybody has played that, it's like the social version of Sims. But yeah, that's what I think about when I say sunken or stretched. That's how they call it, sunken or stretched. So when you go to the left of face profile, it's sunken. When you go to the right, it's stretched. That's the best way for me to put it. Mind you, I've been playing Sims before Second Life, so using that term just helps me explain this because it's not going to say that on the slider itself. The slider is literally telling you the shape, but the me explaining it tells you what that slider does to that specific area. So after we've done that, and for this, I'm happy with it. For the sake of this sim and the video, I'm pretty much happy with the shape of the head and everything. So we're going to move on to the jaw settings. So jaw settings, we did the global jaw, but now we're going to go in and do like the detailed jaw. So here we have some sliders here. I'm not sure what they do. I don't see anything moving. I'm just going to skip these. But we have a PI jawline slider. And this is what's going to like, as you can see, is stretching it down like this. Bring that up slightly. And then let me go on the side here. This is jawline slider 2. And that just, changes that little dip there. But I don't know if we want to deal with that. So we're going to skip it. Up next is jaw depth. Now this one is stretching the jaw towards the back, towards her neck, and it's bringing it up towards the tip of her lip or past the lip. This one you could move like slightly, but it would depend on like this one we could come back to eventually if we have to, but it would depend on how you shaped the lips, honestly. And it kind of looks like slanted a little, but we're going to bring that back out some. So up next is the shape of the jaw. This is going to like make it more square or round. Now that just makes it all crumbled up like a piece, whatever. But because we extrubled the amount, no, we tripled it. actually. I forgot. This is the face. We tripled the range of the sliders. It's going to 768. But let's see. Make the sim like nice and smooth. We can take it back some to counter square. All right. We also have a jaw shape slider for the female sim, and that's just going to stretch this out more. You really don't have to. I think it goes into like this one, and then you kind of fiddle with it. Let me see. Yeah. You don't really gotta mess with that slider unless you need to. But the goal here, when you're playing with the sliders, you stretch or sunk the parts of the face, and when you're happy with it, you move on. And that also helps with like saving time, depending on how much time you want to spend in Creative Sim making a sim from scratch. So after you've done like the jaw width and stuff like that, you can soften the jawline. You can adjust the jaw height, the lower jaw. And then that's about it for this section here. Okay, so after you do like the cheekbone shape, we can do how full or how sunken we want the cheeks to look. I like a full cheek. Like this is like a really nice cheek shape here. So we can keep it there. I don't want y'all to be sitting here thinking you gotta copy what I do. But I'm just explaining to y'all how the sliders work, how they look when you move them, so you can kind of get an idea of how to play with the sliders for yourself. But I am making a sim and using this sim as a demonstration. So after I've done the fullness of the cheek, you also have cheek jowls. That also like stretches the lower part of the cheek. Like if you, well, I guess it doesn't work when I click. But yeah, so that's gonna like take it out some, depending on how you want that cheek to look. And then you could, oh, wait a minute, that's the wrong one. Bring the cheek jowls back in slightly. I kind of want to pull that out the way I just did. And then we have cheekbone size here that I was messing with. That like stretches the, let me see, is it X or Y? I can't remember. Trying to think. I think Y is there like a Y slider in here? But anyway, this is kind of like XY when you're doing the cheekbone size, is stretching it right to left, left to right, not up or down. So that's good when you want to like stretch out the cheek bones. Me personally, I usually be stretching them out towards the edge. And that builds my style of my Sim's face. So I kind of want to bring that in some, because when you stretch them out too far, it kind of looks like sharp and triangle-y. So I'm pulling them back in slightly. And then you have this crease here that we're not going to touch. Up next is the ears. You can change the ears up a bit depending on how you want them to look. This would definitely be like if you want to make an elf or something. This is where you would do the ear shapes and all that. I will like move some of the sliders just so you can see how they look. But the slanted ear kind of stretches and slants it outward or inward. But for this one, I do like when the ears kind of slanted. You could really go crazy with ears, honestly. Make those very whimsical ears if you wanted to. You can play with the scale as well. And I want the scale to be at 0 because that's like the default. And then for rotate, you can rotate towards the inside of the head or rotate out towards the front of the head like this. This reminds me of something when you do the ears like this. If y'all know what I'm talking about, like when you see the ears like this, what does this remind you of? Because I can't remember. It's giving very nostalgic, very childhood character-ish. But we're just going to slightly rotate the ears to like a 9. And then ear point. I'm not going to touch. Can I touch this? Okay. But that kind of starts to when you want to make the elf ears right there. Ear point. Then you have orbit that rotates the ear towards the front or rotates it back. We're going to put it at 0. And then you have the height, that is definitely a custom slider. That can take it up or down. I don't want to change that. Earlobe, that stretches the bottom earlobe out some. We stretch it out to like a 88. And then the ear width, that changes like the stretch of the ear. And I'm going to put it at 0. You can tilt the ear tilt out towards the right or inside. So like right to left, or don't tilt it at all. Ear stretch, you can stretch the ear. I don't really care for this slider. I don't really use it. As y'all can see, there's no need for my style. And that's another thing. Some sliders, based on what they do, will not fit your style. And that's part of making a sim based on your style. There you go. Another thing is ear points. I don't need that either. And I think that's for the back. This is for up or down. Ear height thickness. I don't use that. And I don't use alien ears. So those sliders are not needed for my style. Now, if you want to use that for your style, they're definitely there. And just because you have like custom sliders installed doesn't mean you won't or will use all of them. All right, so now that we've done, like, I've showed you guys the ears, the cheeks, and the jaw settings. I don't think I've shown you guys the chin settings yet, so that's what we're going to do now. And when you go in here, you want to start with, well, let me start from the top actually. So this is for child chin to neck. The next one is chin cleft. That is what's going to give you that that chin shape. But because we have like 3 for the range, it can get very defined. You don't have to do it like that. So you got to like slowly move it to kind of see if you want that on your sim's chin. If not, you can just keep it at 0. I like with some of these sliders, it's much easier to have it like, because sometimes 0 is like in the middle here somewhere, but with these sliders, 0 is at the far left. So that makes it much easier manage how the slider is working. So next is going to be chin depth. And what you're doing here is, and another thing, like I mentioned before, when you're in Creative Sim and you're looking from the side, you can really see what this slider is changing. Because in the front, it'll look a certain way. But if you turn it to the side, you'll actually see like, oh, I'm using this slider right here and it's pulling the chin all the way towards the front. But if I move it towards the back, it just makes the default shape of the chin stay dormant where it is. And then like I was saying about the slider being in the middle, it's middle at 0. With some sliders, it's far left 0. But because of the type of way that this slider is being used, when you go to the far left here, it's bringing the chin all the way down. But we want to like, let's see, play with the size of the chin. And all of these sliders that you're playing with is going to go into that style that I'm talking about. But once we are done making this sim, you'll really see what my style looks like. But I'm just showing you guys as we go through how these sliders affect, so that you'll know like, okay, if I'm messing with chin height and I pull it all the way to the left, it's going to stretch the chin out. But if I bring it to the right, the chin is going to be sunken towards the lips, but I don't want that. So I want to slowly move this and play with the chin, because everything that you change on this sim is going to form into a beautiful sim that is yours because we started from scratch. So yeah, another thing, we got the scale of the chin. As you can see, I'm not even moving it that much. Like if I move it here, you got a tiny chin. The more you move it towards the right, the bigger the chin gets. I like to keep like a little bit of a size. You can even have it default or scale it up a bit if you want to. It all depends on you. And then we have chin neck to neckline. I don't see that doing anything. We have the depth. That's going to affect what's happening under the lip, because it says under lip depth for the chin. You can have that going out. This kind of looks like, this part kind of looks like when somebody puts their tongue underneath their lip and kind of push towards the front. That's what that looks like. Okay, I can see the chin neckline when I turn to the side, but see, yeah, Sometimes I'm like, well, I guess that slider doesn't work. It does work. You just can't see where it's working at unless you turn the sim around. I want to take that back because I kind of like that curve that happens underneath the between the lip and the chin. So we're playing with that slightly. And then we go lower, and then we got chin width for female. And we don't need to, based on my style, I don't want to change that at all because her chin is already a nice size for the sake of this sim that we're making. Up next is finally the eyes. And I'm saying finally because her eye color has been hurting me since we started this video. So I'm going to click, and these are presets, but you can always go into the change color section. This is important regardless of whether you're going to use context or not, because based on the eye color that you choose for the sim and you plan to have children later, you definitely want to make sure it's one of the default eye colors that are inside of your game. If you have eye color presets, if not, because these are change presets that I downloaded and installed, but if you don't have that, you definitely want to come into the eye color section and decide customically or decide for yourself how you want the eye color of that sim to be. Because if you don't and you keep whatever color that, like if we keep that color and you put on contacts, the babies or whatever happens genetically after the sim, they're gonna get that same eye color that just transferred. I'm sure that y'all know that, but sometimes I tend to forget, and if you're like me, then you might want to take that into account. Now I need to not do that because I just cheated. That's a preset. All right, so we're gonna go in here and try to make some eyes without the preset, right? Me personally, I like to rotate the eye some, and then we gotta fix like this area right here above the eyelid because I don't necessarily like that, and I believe it's this eye apex. Yeah, when you change the apex, this is how it looks as you change the apex. It's kind of moving the corners to make that round area. But I'm playing with it slightly just so we can decide. But like, yeah, when you're doing stuff like this, that is becoming your style. How you like for eyes to look is gonna be how your sims will always be you. So I'm probably gonna be repeating that throughout the video, but I want to get it into y'all heads. I don't want y'all to feel like this is hard. Um it does take adding, like, I'm sure people have asked me about the skin that I've used before, especially on TikTok, because I don't really post on YouTube like that anymore, but I have been posting heavily on TikTok. So I definitely get a lot of questions about how do I make my sims look a certain way and what skin am I using, what hair CC. I haven't got to the CC uploading yet to show y'all all that I use in my game. We just did the eye apex. I brought it down to like a -9 because it was at like 200 something. I didn't necessarily like the way that eye shape was. I'm gonna bring it back down to like a -9 or a -18. Let me see what -9 looks like again. And just look, just changing the apex itself just changed the way them eyes look. And I see that she has on eyeliner, and that's gonna bother me. So I want to take that off, at least for the sake of deciding how her eye shape is going to be. Now, we're going to go through, I'm going back to the eye shape category, and we just did the apex. Up next is the eye corner height. And the corner is like the outer corner, the edge here. So you can bring that up or down. And we want to bring it, let me see. Because I kind of, it's something about when you kind of bring it up some or down. Because sometimes I like when the corner height is down, but I also like when it's up slightly. Because I don't even have, my eye corner is not all the way down or up. It's kind of like either, I can't remember. I'll have to look at myself again. I don't have a mirror in front of me where I can see. But what I'm saying is, just because an eye is slanted, you can play with it. You don't have to always have slanted eyes or, change it up sometimes. But for this sim, I kind of, because her cheeks are sitting pretty high, I kind of want to keep those eyes the corner of the eye shape like going up, because it's not, if you lower it down, it's gonna be weird with the way that the cheeks are set up. So we definitely want to bring it slightly going up. And then we're gonna keep going. We got the inner corner height. That's towards the left. And then that brings it down. Going towards the right is gonna bring it up. I don't know if you'll necessarily ever need to do it, but hey, if you try this out and you like the way that it goes up, then do that. I mean, at this point, it's gonna be up to you. But I'm trying to see, because sometimes even messing with the height, you're just bringing it up to a neutral level. You're not bringing it all the way up or all the way down or slightly down, slightly up. Sometimes you're bringing it like at a neutral spot. And I kind of like it like that. Cool. Because I almost brought it down, but I kind of like at a neutral spot. And then you have the eye shape. That's going to close the eyes or open them up. Now this is like when you're having like a sim with small eyes. Me personally, for this sim, I don't want the eyes to be too small or too big. So definitely there. And I definitely want to keep that shine in the eye. Now I do have default eye replacement. So you're definitely going to want to find you one, which is not going to be hard, but I'll try to link some of my defaults just in case. And then up next is going to be eyeball size. That is the actual eyeball that's inside of this eye. Okay. As y'all see me moving it as I'm talking. You can make this eyeball smaller or bigger. Me personally, and also because you're changing the eyeball size, you can then adjust the shape of the eye to fit the eyeballs just in case. But I'm making this slightly smaller, and then I'm gonna go and play with the shape again to kind of shape against the eyeball. But I can always bring out the eyeball slightly just to make sure that everything is fitting smoothly. And then we're gonna change up the apex. So we don't have to change this up at all, honestly, based on what I'm seeing. I don't want to mess with that, so I'm gonna put it to 0 best as I can. Anything you don't like about a slider, you can always put it back to 0. Just keep moving the slider till you find 0 on the numeric parentheses area, and that'll remove whatever change that slider made to your sim. And then up next is sunken eyeballs. That's just this. That's like sunk, stretch. I don't need that for this sim. I don't think so. So I'm gonna remove it. Now this is just, we just did the shape of the eye, right? This is just the shape without a preset. So now we're gonna move to the eyelid, and that's where we're gonna like add more personality and detail to the eyes. So what I want to do is, we got these 3 sliders here that I'm gonna show y'all first, and then we'll move on. But we got eye bags, which is at number 1, and I'm just playing with them just to see what they're gonna change, because I don't really use these in my normal creative sim routine. So I just want to show y'all what they look like because they're in here. Whether we use them or not, it's based on that. But I don't necessarily think that my sim will have eye bags, but you can adjust them. But I can, for the sake of this video and sim, I'm going to slightly add towards the eye bags 1 and 2. Simply because I don't do it, and that'll make the sim slightly different. Up next, we got the outer eye corner. That stretches the outer corner out, or it resets it to 0. So you're only going to get a stretch from this slider. And as we're playing with it, I'm trying to see, do I want to keep this or not? And I don't. Up next, we have eyelid height. I definitely want to bring this height up because I like to see that shine on my sim's eyes. So we're moving it up. And then we have eyelid length that stretches or closes. I'm going to slightly close it. And then we can bring the height down slightly just to make sure we keep the shine, but not too much. And then up next, we got eyelid length. Did we do this already? What do we do? Oh, we did the length. So I'm going to just adjust it slightly some more just so I can see where I had it at. because what I'm really looking at for the sake of this detail when it comes to the eyelid length is as I'm pulling it out towards zero, there's a thickness around the edge here. And I kind of want to take that thickness away. So when I pull it back towards the left, it's closing in on that thickness towards the edge of the eye. So it's not as thick on the lids as it once was. And then next you have the width of the eyelids. That's going to bring this out or close it. I kind of want to close that slightly. I like when it's closed. And then we have eyelid or lower lid height. That's bringing the lower lid out or up. I kind of want to keep this out some. Then we have the upper height. That's going to bring it down or up. We can slightly bring it down. I still want to see some shine. And then up next, we have the shape of the lower eyelids. We can keep that at 0. We have inner eyelid shape. Bring this down. And I'm probably touched these sliders before, but I'm just going back to adjust. Sometimes you have to do that once you touch the slider already. If another slider changes something and it starts to stretch out in different ways, you can always go back and adjust the other slider to get it to fit where you want it to look. Now, me personally, as I'm making this stem, we're just going based off what feet I like to see. You can make multiple different eye shapes. I have multiple different eye presets in my game. So, we can definitely come up with different ways to build your eye. But also, I'm making the eye shape based on how I set up the head as the foundation because we did the cheekbones and the jaw and everything. We just did it to adjust the height of the brows. But as y'all can see, when you adjust the height of the brows, it's also moving some extra parts of the face down towards the nose. So I don't want that. I just want to slightly adjust the height of these brows with this slider before we move with another one. But I'm going to bring it back slightly because we can always adjust the height with another slider that we have in our eyebrow slider list. Up next is the brow curve. This is going to curve the brow upward or downward. For the sake of these brows that we're currently using on this sim here, I think her name is Christy. We just want to slightly adjust the brows like to here. Brow definition. I don't want to touch that really. Now we have another brow height like right here. And I think I might want to use this one over PI. Let me see. Brow height. I might have to do some more like other things to adjust this. But if I go here, okay, yeah. So when you do the normal brow height, I'm gonna bring it up to like 150, but I'm gonna use the female brow height to bring it down slightly. So when you adjust it here, it's also being controlled by this female slider as well. And we're just closing in on those hooded eyelids that we see. And we're just playing with that brow. We're not even done, y'all. So we got brow end thick that adjusts the brow end thick adjusts the thickness of the inner part of the brow. And I'm trying to see how thick or thin. Me personally, sometimes with these brows right here, I like to do a thin brow for the sake of the aesthetic. If y'all know them 90s or early 2000 brows, I love doing a thin brow sometimes. So we're going to adjust the thickness of the brows here. And then as you go down, you have more things like brow rotation that can adjust how the brow rotates. The distance is literally adjusting how far the brows go out or inward. And then we have this outer corner height. That's going to help bend that outer part of the brow. And then there should be something else in here where we can adjust the curve. Just in case. And then I want to go in towards the end thick and adjust the thickness of the inner part of the brow. There we go. We have new brows. So after we've done our brow shaping and adjusting on our sim, I do want to work on the height slightly just to bring it to a place where I want it. Okay. Look at how she looks. We haven't even gotten to the nose or the lips. We're just looking at the head shape that we created with sliders from scratch and the brows and eyes. That's it. Like, I'm really loving how this looks in terms of figuring out my style and create a sim. When it comes to noses, when you're creating your style, up next we have the lower nose height. As y'all can see, as soon as I started pulling it, like that is insane what it just did, right? This looks like an animal now. But we're gonna bring it up slightly. Keep going and keep going and boom. The other side of the slider. Because we have a high facial range, which is at 3, you get more spacing and choices as to how these sliders stretch on that sim. So adjusting these simple settings at the bottom here is going to give you more room to make the sim either have bigger or smaller features. It's all going to depend on those two settings there. Outside of making sliders work, that's another thing to keep in mind with the settings. And then we're going to just adjust up slightly or downward. All depends. I'm thinking about bringing it up because we are going to have to do lips. So I'm definitely going to bring the lower height up slightly. Up next is nose definition. Now, this is going to either make the nose sharper. I kind of want it kind of be in the middle in terms of like not too smooth, not too sharp. I don't know if it's going to be in the middle. Is it? Because if I go this way, we have nose depth. That's going to stretch the nose towards out of the face, or bring it towards the face inward, and that you can just play with that slightly or not slightly. Up to you. Then you have nose length, that stretching the tip of the nose, and also some of the bridge. So we just bring out, let's see, to a 26. That's where I'll stop it at. The numbers just help me look at what it looks like at that number, whether I want to bring it out more or stop it at that specific. If you want to keep, can, but I only do that to kind of be like, if it's at this number, then it looks like this. If it's at this number, then like that. That's basically what I do there with the numbers. You have nose mask, as you can see, like stretching out the bridge. I would say, because I don't know how else to put it, but you can kind of see what you're doing to the nose as you pull it out. You stretch the skin around the bridge. And then we have nose rotate. That's rotating the tip of the nose down. Oh wait, we clicked the wrong slider. Down or down. The current width I have it at is 44 because that's where we just stopped. And I can bring it out slightly some more. Maybe an 88. Okay. I think I like that. You also have nose width for the female if you want to use that one. Kind of slightly adjust. If you adjust this slider here, you can slider here. Kind of use this slider to actually get your Nelson slider based on how the nose is changing with these two. So you can work together when you start to see these two sliders right here. Nostril rotate, your nostril, the edge parts, rotating the nostril up, down, up, or down. I'm moving here. I'm also gonna need. Okay, hold on. I gotta reset this. Okay. You also have nostril shape. Changing the shape of the nostril. And we got some other nostril sliders. They're slightly shaping. Oh, that's teen to elder. Wait, hold on. You got a few nostrils, and I don't think I've ever seen these. When am I? Girl, I'm definitely playing with them just to see what we get when you adjust the shape. Have a nose slider here. I think. Yeah, I know what that is. I don't use that one, but I have it in case I would need. Then we have shoulder twist. We definitely don't want to mess with that. Is you want to pass that down. But hey, is what it is. All right, so now I'm going back up to these nostril shape sliders, and we're just adjust until you feel like that's how you want that nostril to look. I'm gonna want to come back to the yeah. Now we're done with global. Up next is the actual nostril settings. So we're gonna go in here, drop, and then drop is actually we also have nose. This one I tend to use a lot because like when in times to be we go to 0. All right, y'all. So as I was listening to the playback for the nose section, and probably more than one parts in this video, I'm not sure why my mic was chopping out my voice as I'm trying to explain this to y'all. But I'm basically going through each slider and we're adjusting based on what we see. And as you play with the sliders, you're going to notice what it changes on the nose. What I like to do is when I find what I like on the nose, guess what I do? I stop and then I move on to the next slider. As you go through all the sliders and you've tried everything, then you can go back in and adjust as needed. So that's what you're going to see me do here. But hopefully, this will still make sense. I did try to explain like nose tweak and other things, but you will be changing like the scale of different areas of the nose and the width and basically just adjusting them to fit the frame of the face. But based on her face, the nose fits, at least for me and this style. So now we're going to move to the lips. And this is like one of my favorite features to play around with. I rarely ever use well, when I'm in a time crunch or like I don't feel like sitting playing with lips, then I'll go grab a preset. When it comes to the lips, it's kind of the same as the nose, especially since for some reason I just can't believe my mic played me like this. Like I thought I was talking well enough where it wouldn't clip. Maybe it's OBS because I did record my audio through there, so I don't know. Like, come on, recorder. It was very simple. Record what I'm saying. But this is the same thing here. I did have to do a lot of adjusting and tweaks with the lips. So it takes a little time, a little bit more than I thought what I'm used to doing. So even though the lips is going to always be my favorite, it did give me a challenge on this sim. But for the most part, you're going to be having in the global settings the rotation of the corners, and you have mouth curve definition. When you move the definition to the left, it's going to smooth out the frame of the lips. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but like how sharp the lips are is based on the mouth definition. If you move it to the right, you'll have a very defined sharp lip. If you move it to the left, it'll be more smoother. I think for Misty, we did a smooth lip. And so as I go throughout the video adjusting her lips, we tried to get them to a nice shape and size that fits her features. Front, somewhere is the front. From a corner, another corner. And we built her from scratch. Now this is just the facial structure. still have other things we can do, which I mentioned her body modifiers. So body weight. Oh, whoa. So because of the setting that we have, that is insane. Okay. So let me go in here. I'm going to put it at like a 2. That range is huge. 6 is a huge range. Okay, so we're just going to slightly adjust because we didn't put it. I'm gonna fix this even more. I'm gonna put the slider body slider range to 1. There we go. And then we just want to adjust it a little. But you want her actual weight to be slightly thicker before you go in and adjust the way the shape is going to be with the weight. Then we're going to take some muscles down. You can adjust the breast area. And then what else? That should be good. So now, before we move on to making the face be, adding the lashes and things, to actually see how it's going to look and enhance how the sim looks from bare to done up, we're going to go in and do some body modifying. So here we have waist height. We can bring the waist down or up. Me personally, I kind of like to bring the waist up. It will snatch it. Look like there's something going on with that leg, but we finna see. Then we have thigh size. This adjusts the size of the thighs. You can adjust the distance. And what else would I touch in here? The width. Slightly, not too much. Then you have the thickness. You also have calf width, calf thickness. I think that goes towards the front and back. That's like Z. You have tendons. You have hands. I don't do hands or feet sliders. Then you can do butt to waist height. That can be adjusted if you want. Then the shape. You can bring it out or in. Then what else we have? The rotate. I tend to rotate up. Just give it a lift. Then you have mass. That's going to make it less or more. And then you also have arm sliders in here. Thickness of the arms. Depending on the type of sim you make, if you want her to look like she know how to cook, you can adjust the thickness here. You have shoulder thickness. What else do we want to do? There has to be another slider in here that I would play with. We have body and leg height that I don't touch often. Definitely want to play with the thigh size. I'm sure there was like something with the hips. Where is that? Or is it not labeled? What does this do? Okay, this also is something for the legs. I'm gonna put this at 0. And then that's a waist slider. Okay. So the waist is technically already snatched, but we snatched it some more. But now, for me, based on what I'm seeing, the body is now fitting with the sim's head. Okay. So we're going to go in here and do some makeup only because I want y'all to see what she looks like with makeup on now that we've done the shape of her face. And then we're just going to add some lashes. I actually want to use a thinner eyeliner just so we can see the lashes more. This one works perfectly. I love that. Now let's just go in here and pick some lashes. I don't remember which one. Okay. We're going to choose these. Now we have to go back to the eyes and adjust the lash lighters. So we're going to go in here and adjust the bottom lash height, bottom lash length. Okay, you got to do the width of the lower eyelid and bring in the length slightly. Then we have corner height, adjusting the corner of the lash. We also have the inner height and the top lash height. You can adjust it. I kind of like to line it up with the eyeliner. You can kind of see when you highlight it, you can see exactly how much is covering or not covering. We kind of blend those together. And then we're going to go in and adjust the length of these lashes. And you can rotate them back or forward to bring them up. Bring the length back. And now she has lashes. Nice and cute. Now I can go up here as I'm zooming in. I can bring the height of these lashes up or down. Here we go. We also have to go to the inner height and just adjust that slightly. Okay. The lashes are on. We can also go in here and I want to adjust the width of this head just a little bit and bring her jaw in some. As you build your sim, you're going to start to see, based on what you've given her, what changes you want to make to your sim as well. That's part of making her cute. Now I want to go in and add a slight bit of makeup. This is just going to give it some detail. Not gonna hold y'all. I always tend to put this hair on. It's just something about these hearts as the little accents on the top of this hair that I just, the curls, like, stop it. I just can't get away from this hairstyle. Oh, I was trying to find a hair that I don't normally put on my Sims, but it's just hard. I keep running back to these. Like, girl, these look really nice against her face, by the way, especially this one. But I'm still looking, trying to see. But as y'all can see, these hairstyles like really shape the face. And that's like definitely part of having a style. Alrighty, you guys. So I've settled in on a hair, and we have also completed Misty for this video. I am going to continue to apologize in advance for some of the parts that I had to speed up because I can't necessarily re-record this because it's going to be kind of a time crunch. I gotta work and I gotta go on a trip, but I definitely wanted to have this video out because I did record a lot of footage and it did require me to really explain certain things. So I wanted to give y'all as much as I could. Hopefully, from just seeing how the face changed after I explained certain parts, it's kind of the same, just in case you need to know. But the parts where you could hear what I'm trying to explain, hopefully that helps you with the other parts that I had to speed up. But for the most part, this is what we have. This is how Misty looks. She's a nice chocolate brown skin woman with some Y2K brows and a little bit of shine and some blush and all of that on her makeup. And when it comes to melanated lips, I love to do like a brown with a slight brownish pink towards the inside. And I couldn't get away from this lip gloss. I use it on my current household, and I ended up using it on Misty as well. But with all of that being said, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay breezy.